We're going to get started for today. And getting started with Microsoft Excel, well, it's an art class today. So just quickly go through what is Microsoft or MS Excel, and I'll quickly go through its functions and its benefits. Primarily, Excel is a spreadsheet. In some forms, a very, very advanced calculator, and can be used that way if you want. With regards to a calculator, it's usually, you just add something up and it disappears. With, Excel, you can save it for a later stage. It also acts as a simple database. So you can, as Kathy mentioned earlier there, sorry, before the class started, you can, you can organize budgets, you can format, organize, and calculate different data. Okay, so what we'll do is, in today's class, as I say, we'll go through Microsoft Excel, its functions, benefits, which I've just done. I'm going to show you then how to locate, open, then create, and at the end of, or towards the end of the session, how to save the Excel document. I'll go through that quickly. For those who are totally new to it, please do, ask any questions. Then what I'll do is I'll just cover some points in the navigation menu and the ribbon window, as Microsoft call it, and how to create your own document there. We'll then go through formatting the document and inserting basic formulas, and also then saving and printing your documents. Okay, so let's get started here. So I'll just remove that. Still, can everybody still see my desktop there?
No, we can just see a blank view of GetSetUp.
Let me just go back here. Some odd reason it's closed on me. Hold on a second. We'll just get this shared again. Okay, Grant, I'm just having a bit of issues here, just getting to the share button on Zoom.
No problem. You can just stop the sharing and then you can open the file that you want to share in a separate tab. And then you can share in the right way. That is, you can share screen, and then you can choose the window that you want to share, and then you can share the window to everybody.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the actual share.
All right, no problem.
Because I've got the Zoom window open and it's not actually giving me a share option.
Oh, you need to stop the sharing first.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find that. All right, okay, yeah, here we go.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, okay, so let's just go back then and get that set up again. Doesn't seem to be sharing it for me.
Well, I can see the your desktop view that shows your window, home, and everything.
Let's have a look. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so you can see the device there moving.
Yeah, I can just see the GetSetUp that shows a background and your system homepage.
All right, cool. Okay, good stuff. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Appreciate your help there. Thanks, Brian. Okay, so let's get back to that then. So whenever, how to open it up. As with all programs with Microsoft, the start button here on the bottom left-hand corner, you can go through all of your apps, and they're in alphabetical order. We just go to Excel. Just click on Excel, and it will open up a default page for us. So that default page provides us with a blank workbook and some templates. If we've got time later on today, I'll show you how some of the templates. It also shows you some recent documents that have been opened. In this particular case, what I'll do is I'll just open up a blank Word document, and we'll go through the page itself. So Microsoft Excel has got columns along the top, rows along the left side here, and it's formatted in a grid type display. And each of these boxes have a kind of like a number or format attached to it. So, for example, this one that I've highlighted here is C5. Okay, and this will come handy just as we go to show you some basic entries when adding up or multiplying or really formulating some of the stuff. So the basics here now, we've got up at the top here, the home, insert, draw, page layout. Every time I select a different one, it gives me a ribbon of multiple different options. Okay, we're going to really concentrate on the home page, on how to format today, and we might go through a couple of the formulas. Okay, in this particular case, mainly the auto sum and the basic auto sum on that. Okay, so that's the ribbon, and in the home page here, you've got a number of different formatting options. It's very similar to Word, and you could copy paste, you can change the typeset, you can change the size of the typeset, make it bold, you can change the alignment, and you can also merge and center these boxes here as well. So to start off with, what we'll do is very simply look at Excel as a basic program to save a budget, for example. So within a budget, you may have, say, your groceries. So Excel allows not just numbers, but also typeset. Okay, so we could just put in groceries here at the top. And then underneath, okay, what we could do then is just highlight what type of groceries we have. So I'm going to just put in milk, butter, and cheese. Okay. So what we're doing here is we want to have a look and see what kind of, the costs that we have on a regular basis for our groceries. So beside milk, what I'll do then is just go over to the cell or the box beside milk, and I'll put in a number. Say 50p, okay? And you'll see here that it's just automatically defaulted to 0.5. Butter, I'll put in a pound, and it's just defaulted to 1. Cheese, £1.20, and it's defaulted to 1.2. So that's not great whenever you're looking at, the numerical value of each of these items. So there are a couple of ways that we could do this to show that it's a monetary item. Is if we go up to the top here, and you can see that the arrow has changed to a down arrow on that column. For everything in that column, this is where I would go to. Okay, and I would right click, and it brings me up a menu. I could copy or paste. Okay. In this particular instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to format this cell. And if I click on format, and it pops up another little window here. And this window then gives me a number of options. We can look at alignment, font, order, etc. In this particular case, we'll look at the number. And it's a currency. So we'll go to a currency. I'll show the symbol here in pounds. You can change that to a number of different currencies. We'll stick with pounds. And you'll also see underneath here, you can show it as a negative number, either in minus black, or here, the negative number can be in red. We'll leave it as a positive number for now. So let me just go back, right click, format, bring up our little menu box, go back to currency, and I'll leave it as that. So now you've seen that it's changed the values in Excel to a currency. Okay, so I've got milk at 50p, butter at £1, cheese at £1.20. I'm sure all of those values are totally off, as I probably are. You know, the typical guy who has no idea. So now what I want to do is I've got my values, okay, and I don't know how much that is. In this particular instance, I could probably do a quick sum, okay. But what I want to do is be able to automatically see what I'm listing down here and adding them all together. So I'll give myself a little bit of room to add more if need be, and I'll just go to this cell, okay? Cells highlighted. I'll go up to formulas, go to an auto sum, and we'll do a very simple sum there, that very first one. If I click on that, you'll see that it's highlighted everything right down to that particular cell. Okay, so it's highlighted these other cells or boxes. So, and it's also, if we go back to what I was saying about each cell having its own name or title as such. So, for example, we've got D7, which we're aligning to milk, D8, and D9. It's also highlighted a couple of other empty ones here at the bottom. So D7, instead of using the plus sign, what Excel does is it uses the colon sign, and the colon sign is similar to, say, add the 3 or 4 items together, okay, rather than using milk at 50p and then add it, you know, using a plus sign and then another plus sign and then another plus sign. So it automatically looks at those 3. If I hit enter, it'll give me a total here at the bottom. Now, if I go to change the milk and say, well, milk didn't cost me 50p last week, it's gone up this day and age as prices are, and we'll change that to 75p. You can see here that it's automatically increased the price. So this is your total. What we want to do then is just identify that total. So the cell beside it, I'll just type in total. If I go to add in another item, say cauliflower, and that costs me £2. If I enter that in, you can see it's automatically total that one as well. And that's because when I click in that cell and go up to the top here, I can see that what it's doing is it's saying this cell is equal to the sum of D7 cell, D8 cell, D9, D10, D11, D12. I've nothing in D11, D12 at the moment, so it doesn't add anything there. Now, when I added cauliflower, just to show a bit of formatting, I'm going through formatting here on cauliflower, you can see that it's cut off the R. What I could do is I can go up to this column, and if I move the mouse over to, you can see the line of that column. If I move it up to the top, just left click and hold the left click in, I can move that over and widen that column. Now I can see the cauliflower there. Okay. Any questions so far?
Would it be possible for you to zoom in on your screen?
Yes, should be able to. Let's have a look. Too much there. Is that better?
Much better, thank you.
All right, sorry about that. Okay. So now we have the list and, our groceries. We have it itemized against each item there, the amounts, and then the total. What we need to do now is just kind of format it a little bit, make it a little bit easier to work out, easier to see. So what I could do then is, if I want to have a look at this main area here, okay? This is our contents area. So what I'll do is I'll just click on the first cell. I'll hold the left click down and just move it over to D7 here on beside it. And then while keeping that left click down, just move down again to cauliflower. I actually spelled cauliflower wrong. Correct that. So what we'll do is we'll include the cell below as well, just in case we want to add more. So now we've got it highlighted. If we go back up to the home menu and we go to the font area, there's a button here which is a borders. And if we click on that little arrow to the right, it'll give us a list of borders, what we want to do with those cells as well. So if I go to thick outside borders, you can see that it's looked at what I've highlighted, and it's basically drawn a line around the edges there. Okay. If I highlight that again, and we go up to our borders, and we go to all borders, you can see it's like a little cross. So what it's doing is it's going to border each individual cell. So if I click on that, now we've got them all bordered and separated out. I could do this again then with my totals. And as you can see, because I've already used the formatting where it's going to border each cell, instead of clicking the down arrow, I could just click on that and it borders that. With regard to the groceries, which is really the title of our table, what I could do then is, instead of actually bordering it, I can go up to bold, make it a little bit bolder, and then go to underline. And that underlines what I'm looking at for my budget, for my Excel. Okay, so I've got groceries, and then in here, let's just change that. All right. So, if you want to, then say you've got a total of £4.95. If we go now to another cell beside that, over here to the right, what I'll do is I'll call that my budget. So what we're going to do then is highlight that, we'll put it in bold, underline that, and now we're going to look at a budget. Now, the budget, you can either have it where you've got a budget each week for each item. Usually what I'll do is I'll just have, say, a budget for the week or for the day. In this particular case, what I'll do is I'll put a budget of £10. Okay. It's automatically selected it as 10. What we did before is I showed you then, if you go to the column and right click and go to format cells, It'll format all of the cells that you want, except for anything that does have, you know, an actual letter or word in it. What you can also do is, if you just want to format that particular cell, is just highlight that cell, right click. It'll give fairly similar menu. We go down to format that particular cell, go to number, currency. We show the currency then as pound and click OK. So now I've got £10 as my budget. To clean it up a little bit further, what I can do then is go up to the column. I'll right click on the column. And I can format the cell again. And in this particular case, I'm going to go to alignment. And I'm going to just center everything. And click that. Now, the right click is really a shortcut to the menu that's up here in the Excel taskbar and ribbon. Okay. If I just undo that, go up to the ribbon, you see here the alignment area. I can just click that and that. Okay, which is centering it. These other ones are to the right and to the left. The top ones here are the alignment within the cell itself, because you can actually enlarge the cell. But we'll not go into that too much at the moment. So now I've got a budget. Okay, I've got my total. I want to find out what's left. So I'll just, in this cell here, put in remaining. I'll go down to a couple of cells underneath, and we'll do a sum on that as well. And this way, now I'm going to show you how to do the sum manually. Okay. So what we're going to do then is go up to the function bar up at the top here. I'm going to do equals, which is always what you start the sum off with. Type in sum and an open bracket. And this is dictating then what you want to do with that particular cell. Excuse me. So now I'm going to select the actual cell, which in this particular case is my £10, which is F7. What I want to do then is the minus sign. So I want to reduce my total of cost of the groceries, which is D13. So I'll just type in D13. And then I'm going to close that sum with a close bracket. And I'm going to hit enter. So now we've got a remaining total of £5 and 5 pence. Okay. If I right click on that, go to format cells again. And if I show you, we looked at the negative numbers. I'll click on the red. So I want to show a negative number in red. I don't want to show it as minus. Okay. It remains as a plus, as a positive. That's because you've also obviously got more in your budget than you've spent. Okay. If I go back to changing the budget, change that to £4, you can see then that it's automatically changed what I've left, which is a negative of 95p. I can, if I want to, go back, format that cell. I could show it as a negative red, so it shows a little minus sign there. Or I can go back and format it if you're happy enough with looking at negatives in black. I can show it as minus in black. I like to use the red. It kind of highlights that you don't have enough. I can use the red, the minus as well. Okay. And is there any questions with that?
I have a different question. When you go to the top where the title is, how do you make it stay there and not go down to like where groceries is? How do you make the titles in the function bar stay there and then that's the beginning of your report?
You mean up at the top left here, this A1?
Yeah, up here next to the FX, if you type in there the title of your report and you want it to stay there in the formula bar, you want to stay there so that when you finish typing down from 1 to 15, you have at the top that is your grocery list.
Yeah, so the function bar is what you've selected in the cell. So if I go to groceries, it automatically comes up in the FX bar, function bar. So if I then, so I've highlighted the cell groceries. If I then use my enter key just to move down, you'll see at the top there, the FX bar, the milk, butter, cheese, cauliflower. If I go over to the amounts, you'll see it as 2, 1.2, 1, and 0.75. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think what I wanted to do was just leave the title at the top of the form and then just start with maybe number 2 instead of 1 and have from 1 have the title up there so then I know what I'm looking at when I go down.
All right. Oh, okay. So if you're scrolling down the page, you mean?
Yeah, if I'm up at number 1 and I'm saying, okay, this is my groceries. And I have my groceries listed in A and B. And then under my groceries, I have whatever. And at the top up here where it says 0.75, I have groceries so that I know that that's my grocery list.
Okay, yeah. So what you would do there is, in this particular case, so for example, if I move down and say I've got a list of different groceries all the way down here, it's the titles are disappearing on me.
Right.
So yeah, what I could do then is, if I believe it'd be 5, so row 5 I'm looking at, you can see the arrow there. If I select that row, and what I can do then is, let's just have a look at that. I think it's in view. So if we go to view, and we're going to freeze the pane. So if I go up to freeze here, just click on that arrow, and I'm going to freeze. So keep the rows and columns visible while the rest of the worksheet scrolls. So I'll click that one. Okay, and what it does is it'll actually, my apologies, let me just go back here. It's done at the one below. If I just select the one underneath, go back to view, freeze the pane, I'll unfreeze that first and freeze it again. So now you can see there's a line.
Okay.
Row. So when I scroll down, I can see my titles.
Thank you. That's what I needed to know. I go to freeze. Yeah. Okay.
So,
thank you very much.
No problem. So in this particular instance, then, because I put the budget there as £4 underneath, it's going to disappear as well. So the recommendation there would be, and rather than type out £4 again or the number again, what I could do is I can right click, I'll cut that cell, I'll put it over above the line, paste it, and now you've got your budget stays the same. Okay, so if we scroll down, you can always see that your budget amount there, I'll put it in as £10 again.
Okay, because put the freeze in. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, it freezes everything underneath that row, so it allows. So I mean, I've used up quite a lot of the page here. I mean, if we just say clean it up a little bit, if I go and show you how to remove a row, for example, if I go to 2, Row 2, I'll then select my control key, go to row 3. I can then right click and I can delete those. And you can see it's all moved up slightly.
Very,
gives
oh,
you-
thank you.
Gives you more of a header on groceries and your budget. So what you could do then is, in this particular case, is so what I would do then also is just clean up my budget and my remaining, so that I can view it all on the one page. If I'm going to add more down through the page, I'll select the budget, that cell, I'll cut it, I'll bring it up to the top here. I always kind of give myself, a little bit of space, just so that it's visually more acceptable. I'll right click and I'll paste. So now I've got budget, and with £10 underneath that, I'll go up to remaining and do the same. Cut that, go to remaining, use the row beside budget, right click, paste. And now what I'm going to do is I need to put what's remaining up at the top here. So I want budget £10 and remaining, I want my £5.5 here. So if we just right click and cut this particular cell, go up to I3, which is beside the budget, right click and paste, and you'll see it's automatically selected that, and it's kept the formula. Okay, let me just go back on that. Sorry, I just selected the wrong one there. So it's kept the formula of H3 minus D11. Okay. If you find that it does change, and I'll just show you briefly, what you could do is to keep that formula the same. There's a little tip, and it's using the $sign. If you put a $sign in front of any of the cells, so here $sign H3, which is £10, minus $sign D11, which is our total, and just hit enter. That'll make sure that if anything moves around here, that this will stay the same. It'll always calculate the cell H3 and D11. In fact, actually, you should actually put in $sign H, $sign 3, and that's the particular cell, row, and column, as well as the cell itself, the cell number. All right. Any other questions? Just checking the chat window there. Nothing there. No. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just show you quickly how you can also use Excel for other things. So what I'm going to do is I've one that's opened, or one that I've created. So we'll just open this, and I'll just delete that. So you just to notice there, and I'll just actually make this a bit bigger for you guys as well. That's a little bit better. Okay, so a couple of other things with Excel. First of all, you do not need to create your own Excel document for everything that you want to add. So if you've got your grocery budgets, if you've got your monthly bills, for example, in this particular example, there's also I'm a big fan of the game Kings of Avalon. So here, we'll just make that a little bit bigger. So I've got one book open, but I've got two sheets within that. So what you could do is, for example, this is the monthly expense. I'll just delete that and show you how to see. Sorry, that sheet 3 has been used. So what we could do then is, if we click on that plus arrow, I've got a new sheet within the same book. Okay. Or the same document. So if I open the one document, I can have multiple sheets within that document. If I go down to the bottom, sheet 1, if I just left click on that, my apologies, right click on that and rename, I can rename it to whatever I want. Groceries. If I then go back to my other document that we were looking at, which is groceries, at the very top left-hand corner, you've got like a box which has an arrow pointing down. If I click on that, right click and copy, go back to my other workbook, my other document. Let's just make that bigger again. Right click on the top left-hand corner, and I'm going to paste that in. So now I've got it pasted in. Now, just note on that, whenever you are copying and pasting to different sheets, you can see here that it's removed the line, which is my totals line or my header as such. So what I would need to do is go back to the left column or left row, go back to view, and freeze those panes again. Done it again. It's the other one. Just unfreeze that. Sorry about this. Just quickly view, unfreeze. Paste that in. Freeze these again. So now it's frozen. Okay. So let's just go back. Sorry. What I want to do actually, before I go further into these, so we don't run out of time, I'll just very quickly show you how to save this document. If you go up to the file, along the left-hand corner, you've got a number of menu items, save as. Just click save as. I can say select my desktop or a folder that I have. In this particular case, I'll just use desktop and I'll change it to groceries. Now it's automatically selected as an open document spreadsheet. We want to change that to an Excel workbook and save it. The same area for printing, file, go to print, and you'll see on the printing there's two windows there. One is if you want, a number of different items there. If you want more than one copy, you can change that. My printer, it's in another room, so it's offline at the moment, just hasn't been turned on. I can print active sheets, one-sided, A4, or select margins, etc. Is there any questions on the printing? I think most people are probably very okay with saving and printing documents, but please do shout out if you feel that you want me to go over that again. No? Okay. All right, so let me just go back then. And what I wanted to show you is in this couple of different things here. In this tab here, War Heroes, I've called it, Selenium War Heroes. I have a number of different things that I'm keeping. So Excel isn't just really for adding, subtracting, or for budgets. You can also use it, as a fairly basic database. And what I'm going to do here is show you how to very quickly sort out the information in the database. So in this particular case, I've got hero name, Ursa, Orlando, Kinglot, Kira. Okay, if I want to list those, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight those rows, and I want to put them into alphabetical order. So what I do is I go to data, and we'll go over to sorting. And I could sort by A to Z, by Z to A, or if I click this sort, it'll allow me to select the values. So it's sorting, and these are columns, and then the cell values in order. So I'll sort by hero name. And then I want to, I can add a level and sort by March slot. Let's select here. Yeah, there's hero name, and it's A to Z. If I click OK, you can see now that it's sorted it in alphabetical order by column A, my hero name. And then it's looked at the March slot. Okay, and I'll look at different levels of the March slot, not just the number, but also the words that's in that. Any questions there? No? Okay. All right, so let me just go back to another little trick we use. If you notice here in this particular budget, so it's an example of monthly budget, you could see a couple of different things that have happened. What I've done is I've copied this over from an actual Word document, and it's defaulted a few things to characters that I don't recognize. And the reason being is, let me just remove these. I'll just take this tick and put it over here. The reason is that the tick that I have here is not a default character in Excel. So I have these all with a little tick. I got that tick from Word. Okay, so just to show you the versatility of Excel and the ability to use Word to copy and paste stuff as well. If I go into a Word document, so just scroll down my apps, Word under alphabetical order. It's just going to open the document here for me. Select a blank document, and I want to use a tick, okay, something that Excel doesn't normally do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to have a look for, let's just see here. Just about of just change this slightly here, so it's about okay. So let me just right click here, see if I can find where the ticks are. Should be over here somewhere, but it's out of range on me. Just there we go. Okay, my apologies for that. So in Word, you've got symbols, and I'll show you it's the same with Excel. However, the symbols in Word there are more of them. Okay. So I've just clicked on the arrow to the left of symbol, brings me up this window, and I'll scroll down until I find my tick. Now, to save a little bit of time, what I'm going to do is just cheat a little bit. Just going to copy that. So whenever you do find it in the Word document, you can enter it into Word. We'll just copy it or highlight it. Right click, copy. We'll go back to Excel. And now I'll just click my cell, right click, and paste. Now it comes up as a tick. Excel does have the same insert view. You can see it here. Symbols. Click symbols, and I can scroll down through all of these, but it will not show me a tick. So whenever I copied and paste this from a Word document to show you how Excel looks at it, it come up as a U. So what I'm going to do then is to show you how the rest of the U's, rather than copy and then paste each one. If we go to, I've got the cell highlighted. If we go to the very bottom right corner, you'll see that the cursor has changed into a cross. I'll left click that, and I'll just drag it down while the left click is still clicked down, and it changes everything. This, what will happen here is, if you notice that I've actually clicked on the cell, it shows me a value of 10279. But the reason why it's all hashed out is because the column is not long enough for it to display. So just to show you again, if you go up to the column, go to the very edge, the cursor will change like a cross with 2 arrows. Left click, keep the left click down, and just move the column to make it wider. And you'll see now that it's showing you the actual amount. Any questions there?
Kathy Hackert had a really good question in the Zoom chat.
Oh, let me have a wee look at. Sorry. Let me see. I can't see the Zoom chat here at the moment.
She says, is there a book you might recommend that goes over all of this? Some of us need to digest it a little more slowly.
Yeah, books. There's going to be an awful lot of stuff that's out there. There's certainly a lot of stuff on the internet. With regards to books, I don't know whether you would get it where you are or not, but it's usually, let me try and remember. It's a series of books for, it's called For Dummies, so Word for Dummies, Excel for Dummies, Microsoft for Dummies. Quite a horrible name, I think, but it's one that you could look at. What I could do is I could do a bit of research and maybe provide some links in the follow-up. That'll be okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, am I going a little bit too quick for you on this one?
It's okay. Keep going.
All right. No problem at all. I've just got a few minutes to finish off anyway, but are there any particular questions, anything specific that you want me to go back over? No? Well, just here's another one here. And you know, you don't need to really concentrate too much on the content. What I'm doing here is really showing you how versatile Excel can be. And it's not just a program, you know, for mathematics or for sums or for budgets, etc. In this particular case, this is an example, a caption of my father's heavily into genealogy. And what he would do is he would update databases and stuff like that. So, you know, in this particular case, you know, he's used, you know, the top row for titles. And, you know, again, if we go back to view and freeze panes, I'll freeze the top row, and it allows, excuse me, sorry, what it does is allows him to look at the top row and scroll down, still showing the title. And in this particular case, again, you know, what he can do, or what, you know, he would do here is have a look at, say, the dates of the marriage and be able to sort it out by the year or by the date of marriage or by, you know, the towns. So it help, you know, it's versatile in that way. And then he can, you know, edit those and then revert back to the full database or full sheet. In particular, what I'm doing is probably will look at, you know, maybe a half-hour class on actually just purely looking at how to, you know, sort stuff out in Excel. I just went through it very, very briefly today because we wouldn't have time. But just going back to, you know, review, I think it is, sorry, data, my apologies, data. And I would cover more of this sorting and filtering, how to filter out particular aspects of the document. So, you know, if it had like St. Peter's or St. John's or, you know, other names here, I can filter out just those and work on those. Any questions, guys? It's coming up to the end of the class now. This is how we look at the chat there. I'll have to figure out how to look at my chat window. No questions, no more. We just make sure then everything's all okay for everybody. Just close this, and I'll bring up the slides here. Well, if as I said, if there's no other questions, then I just really all that's left to do today then is just thank everybody for their attendance. I really appreciate it.